SMF. Guess what? SMF Street Traders, well, MMTs. I'd like to inform you once again, MMTs, that you've been learning the power about trends. You've been learning the power, the nature of a trend. The word is called trend. However, here it's price action. When price action is made, it's made. When price action fails, as we did here, that's what price action failure is. Over here, we've got that power of that declining 200 week. Within the rally, that's falling in value. That's not supposed to happen. That's one of the bearish things as far as the 200 week moving average goes in this momentum. The bullish part of it is that you had finally increased on the weekly signal when you had the 4-week rally. That was that big September rally, you know, that hadn't happened in the last 71 years. How do you like that one? Now, let me tell you all something right here. This was the last week. It was narrow range week up toward the high, MMTs. And another thing that we talked about, reversals and what they look like. This is the beginning. It's always confirmed with the gap down. However, this is not the same. That's so you can call this what the public would call that would be a weekly doji. What we call it was narrow price action range up in here for the week. And the buyer and the seller, by looking at the wicks right there, because you can see the middle, they were kind of like, wow, I wonder what could happen. Well, on the reversal so far, because it's weekly, we've already got that much of a weekly move. What we're going to see if it starts to turn into one of these kind of bars right here. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to draw a trend line right there at half of that SMF weekly bar, just for you. And it's not maybe 100% like it is in the SMF platform, but the Dow, if it breaks that right there, that's the key one, because that was the we shot a big wick up there. That's called volatility. But boy, it slid half of the bar here, the SMF weekly bar, and down you went. Okay. Now, back to the 4-week rally, and this could be the very beginning of we will always have support down in here. Because the bullish thing about it is that they have crossed over and they've gone higher, and they're not doing this. They're not descending in value. They're ascending in value. So the Dow will have support when it does come down through there like any other time. Okay, things do bounce on support levels the first time. You might have the first bounce. But we're looking for the weekly expanding daily compounded bar that turns into this 5-day weekly one. And what we do is when we break below that, we would be aggressively selling short. That would become new resistance. And then you would be confirming your short MMTs. And anytime that if this was to occur, MMTs, it's just a trade. That means if you're going to reverse here, MMTs, then there are bear ETFs that could be traded along with this as well. And that will be the next phase. So basically, you're going to have the bull part of it is you've got these moving averages. But if we get to a point where they don't go up any higher on the weekly one, and they start to go flat or ever tilt downward like this right here. Perfect example. MMTs. Right there. Wow. Look what happens when they cross over. Anyway, all of the weekly moving averages compared to when they were in their, bear weekly moving average movement, the indexes go down. Then they fall. So we're going to be monitoring carefully. We will take the original breakout bar of the 4-week September rally. That's going to be the lower end of support. It just so happens to come out at the 20-week moving average. That's the underliner. This bar here, MMTs, we're going to put it right there on the Dow. That is a place of your first support, second support, based on the SMF weekly pro action price action bar. Pro action price action bar. So support 1 is broke here on that MMT price action bar. Then MMTs are looking for down here. And not only that, is that when this does occur, is what is going to be the power of the bounce of the Dow possibly? Is it going to sell right through them and take out stop market orders and get very ugly? It could. We'll find out. The buyers and the sellers will be the ones who are going to judge that. And basically, that was August trend. That's the September trend. And where the August resistance level was, which was truly right here, happens to be exactly half of that SMF weekly bar. And that's where the August trend reversal was, downward. And you made a lot of money because we did all the live trades. It was time to buy here on the up bar. And hey, if it wanted to keep going, if it took out resistance, you let it keep going. But now we're looking at just the opposite. I had a trend line drawn here. MMTs, that was the upper end of resistance. You could have shot through there and tested that because that's half of that bar there. So basically, we're going to see that each one of the SMF weekly bars on the Dow bars, and these are not small movements. Some of these weeks right here had a total price movement. So when we look at the total, there was 451.23 Dow points traded during that 5-day period. And it tells you right here. That's the, and we have formulas that go in here. But when you look at the upside buying bars right here, is that notice that the upside MMTs in the 4-week rally is only 257.7 points. Notice that that week right here was only 191 points. But the top right there, this is the key, 257 points. Total points traded on the Dow that week. And that week just so happens to be 919 thereafter. And that's that weekly reversal. So we have everything in plan. There are bear puts that can be traded. There are also bull protection that can be put on in volatility. There's lots of various different trade managements that can be done when these moves start to happen and start to show signs of a different directional movement. MMTs up here on the weekly. %DS. What we're looking at is where the deterioration starts to move below the 8.5 handle down to 8.490, and if this is going to get weaker because that's the high here of it when we were making that high there. So basically, that's another thing. That's flattening out MMTs. But if this can't go higher, and it starts to decrease or descend in its own mathematical deterioration, and that means that this top is weak, MMTs, as you are already aware. I'm going to conclude the weekly Dow, and I've given all of the MMTs the key Pacific weekly MMT price action bars. Dow reversal.